Perhaps you're thinking about investing in some ETFs and want to compare the top options available. In this video, I'll help you do just that. Today, we'll be comparing 8 of the best performing ETFs currently on the market. We'll cover everything from their annualized performance to the growth of a £5,000 investment over 5 years. This will show us how much that initial amount would be worth today. We'll also examine key factors such as the fees associated with these ETFs and their standard deviation, which indicates the risk level involved in investing in them. Additionally, we'll look at the top 3 holdings and the overall composition of each ETF's portfolio. For this video, I'll use Vanguard's FTSE All-World as my benchmark ETF. If you had invested £5,000 in Vanguard's FTSE All-World 5 years ago, it would now be worth £8,488.72. This is based on a lump sum investment with no additional contributions. Some of these ETFs have seen staggering returns over the past 5 years, with the last ETF featured in this video having tripled the initial £5,000 investment in that period. When discussing these ETFs, I'll explain whether they are accumulating or distributing. Accumulating ETFs reinvest dividends back into the ETF, while distributing ETFs pay dividends out as income. The Vanguard FTSE All-World ETF I'll be using as a benchmark is a distributing ETF because the accumulating version has not been established for 5 years or more, so we can't track those gains over the same period. The Vanguard FTSE All-World ETF VWRL has a 5-year annualized return of 11–12%. The ongoing charge for this ETF is 0.12%. and its 3-year standard deviation is 10.21. Generally, a lower standard deviation indicates a less volatile and less risky investment. VWRL has 647 holdings, and as a distributing ETF, it pays out dividends at a rate of 155%. Now, let's move on to the other ETFs that have historically outperformed Vanguard's VWRL. It's important to note that past performance is not indicative of future results. Just because an ETF has performed well in the past doesn't mean it will continue to do so. However, looking at past performance can provide useful insights, even though history doesn't always repeat itself. If you had invested £5,000 in the first ETF I'm going to discuss, it would now be worth £189.33. This is the SPD RMSCI World ETF, with the codes WLD. What sets this ETF apart is its stronger performance compared to Vanguard's FTSE All-World, along with lower ongoing charges of 0.12%. Essentially, this portfolio excludes emerging markets. While Vanguard's FTSE All-World ETF includes 647 different stocks, offering a much wider and more diverse portfolio, the SPD RMSCI World ETF has 449 holdings, leading to better performance. The top 3 holdings in this ETF are Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia. This is an accumulating ETF, meaning the dividends are reinvested. The next ETF has also seen significant growth. A £5,000 investment 5 years ago would now be worth £674.41. This is the Xtrackers MSCI World Momentum ETF, with the code XDWM. It has 5-year annualized returns of 12.81% and an ongoing charge of 25%. The 3-year standard deviation is 13.48%. Next, we have the classic S&P 500 ETF. I'm including the iShares Core S&P 500 ETF in this video because of its low fees, at 0.7%. There are many versions of the S&P 500 ETF, which should track similarly but have different fees. For example, the HSBC S&P 500 ETF has fees of 0.9%, Vanguard's are 0.7%, and SPDR's are just 0.3%. If you're looking for a low-cost S&P 500 ETF, SPDR might be worth considering. The code for the iShares Core S&P 500 ETF is CSP1. Its 5-year annualized returns are 14.90%, and its 10-year annualized returns are 15.40%. A £5,000 investment 5 years ago would now be worth £985.88. The ongoing charge for this ETF is 0.7%, and its standard deviation is 11.92%. This is a distributing ETF, meaning dividends are paid out at a current rate of 1%. The first ETF in this video that would have more than doubled your money over 5 years is the UBS S&P 500 ESG ETF. With the code FIVEST, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance, meaning this ETF screens for those factors. Some people prefer ESG investments, while others do not. But it's notable that this ETF has outperformed the standard S&P 500 over the past 5 years. Its 5-year annualized returns are 16.43%, so a £5,000 investment would now be worth £10,662.35. The ongoing charge for this ETF is low, at 11%, and its 3-year standard deviation is 12.09%. This ETF includes 323 equity holdings, compared to the 503 in the standard S&P 500, as it excludes those that do not meet ESG criteria. The top 3 holdings are once again Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia. I know it sounds repetitive, and as I mentioned, this is a distributing ETF. Next up is the LG Battery Value Chain ETF, a more niche investment focused specifically on the battery value chain. It's important to note that this ETF has only 34 holdings. If you're seeking a diverse portfolio, this may not be the best option due to its specialized nature. However, it has achieved remarkable results. The 5-year annualized returns are 18.14%, and a £5,000 investment over 5 years would now be worth £11,815.30. The ongoing charge for this ETF is 0.49%, the highest among those discussed here, but it's a specific niche investment. The 3-year standard deviation is higher at 18.39%. The top 3 holdings are Hyundai Electric, TDK Corp, and NYS. This is an accumulating ETF, meaning dividends are reinvested. Moving on to the second to last ETF, the Invesco EQQQ-NASD-AQ100 ETF, with the code EQQQ. It has 5-year annualized returns of 21.41% and 10-year annualized returns of 21.31%. A £5,000 investment 5 years ago would now be worth £89.31.11. The ongoing charge is 0.3%, and the 3-year standard deviation is 17.95%. This ETF holds 102 equities, including the usual suspects, Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia. It is heavily weighted towards large-cap technology stocks, so consider that before investing. Remember to do your own research based on your risk tolerance and personal goals. This overview provides a high-level look at each ETF. Finally, the last ETF has tripled a £5,000 investment in 5 years. The iShares S&P 500 Information Technology ETF, with the code IITU, would now be worth £15,764.71. This ETF focuses on information technology stocks within the S&P 500. It has 65 holdings and 5-year annualized returns of 26.42%. The ongoing charge is relatively low at 0.15%, and the 3-year standard deviation is 18.67%. As with the others, the top 3 holdings are Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia, and it is an accumulating ETF. Those are all the ETFs I wanted to cover in today's video. If you enjoyed this content and are interested in ETFs or index funds, consider subscribing to the channel. If you found this information useful, please give the video a like, and I'll know to make more like it in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and have a lovely day. Peace.